All right, these are the 3 yarns that I used for my Petal Stitch blanket. My blanket was intended for my young granddaughter, who is just a couple of months old. And so it's a very small blanket, something that I wanted her to be able to really just cuddle with, or something that could just tuck her into the stroller or car seat. It's not a full-size baby blanket, which is a good thing because this black yarn would have made me completely insane if I was doing a larger blanket. I was determined to do a high contrast blanket because babies love to look at high contrast. And I first found this multicolored contrasty yarn. It's Lion Brand Basic Stitch. It's an acrylic yarn and the color is Nightfall. It's an anti-pilling yarn, which I take to mean it won't come apart. And it didn't. It was pretty easy to use. The recommended crochet needle size was a 5. From there, I really wanted to find a super soft baby yarn, which I couldn't find in the multicolor. So I went with Yarn Bee for black and white. This is Must Be Merino, which is a combination of wool, acrylic, and nylon. The colors are black and white. The recommended needle size is 6.5. I did end up I started the blanket at a 6.5. It felt like it was too chunky and just not dainty enough for a baby blanket. So I took it back out and went down to a 5.5 needle. Now, obviously you probably shouldn't mix different recommended needle sizes and different weights of yarn, but sometimes it's just not practical when you want the colors you want and you can't find them all in the same brand or the same weight or recommended needle size. So I did mix and match. I will say that I don't think I will ever crochet in black yarn again. Not to be negative, but it was extremely difficult to see what I was doing. There was no contrast to it. There were no shadows to it. As you can see in this video, you can't see the yarn at all, versus here you can see shadows, so you can see the strands, at least, even though it's a solid color. This yarn just about made me crazy. I took out probably 2 out of every 3 stitches and redid them. And also, this is not an anti-pilling yarn, and it fell apart like crazy, which I attributed to its super softness and buoyancy. So for me, it was a difficult yarn to use. Maybe my hand technique with my needle is not good enough, or maybe my eyesight is not that good. So I did struggle. The blanket turned out beautifully. I would use either one of these again, just I would never do black again. I really encourage people that are thinking about solid black to think again. So those were the yarns that I used on the Petal Stitch blanket.